Hey guys, I'm Drago, and today I decided to challenge myself. Also, if I sound a bit off, I think I'm getting ill with a cold, so apologies. But yeah, you've probably heard of it before. It is the 10 seconds, 10 minutes, 10 hours challenge. This is basically an art challenge where you take the same drawing, or same sculpture, or painting, or whatever you want to do, and you basically draw it 3 times, 1 in 10 seconds, 1 in 10 minutes, and 1 in 10 hours. I had this idea for this art piece in my mind for a while. The piece was basically inspired by a screenshot I saw from the FNAF movie. This is of Spring Bonnie / William, and he's sort of got this pose to him. It's when he gets tased by Mike, and it's sort of got this pose to him where he's like clenching his fist. He really looks like he's taking it head on. It's a bit of a power pose, you know? And I really quite like that pose, and I wanted to take it and adapt it into this idea I had. So yeah, welcome to the first art challenge video. Yippee! If you want to see me do more art challenges, just let me know. I'm happy to try them out. Put them down in the comments below which art challenges you'd like to see me try. And without further ado, let's get into it. Guys, this is gonna go so badly. It's not even funny. How am I gonna do this in 10 seconds? Why did I decide to do this? Oh god, I'm just looking at it thinking how I'm gonna do this in 10 seconds. I gotta press it and then quickly get over here and start sketching. Oh, I'm nervous to press it. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Go 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 go. Okay, well, that was never gonna happen, was it? Let's face it. There's the 10 seconds. Oh my god, I even got the ears so on my under my panic. Right, on to 10 minutes. I've got enough time here now to probably at least make it look a bit decent. Whether I'm gonna have time to colour, I don't know. Yeah, let's start the timer. 3, 2, 1, let's do it. Right, 10 minutes, okay. So first of all, I'm gonna have to start off with his nose, as I usually do. I'm gonna have to be fairly hasty with it. So probably not gonna get the best detail on it, but it's gonna be something. He might look a little wonky in areas, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm doing this without any sort of base, so that's not great. I don't have any construction lines, we're just going straight in. He's probably gonna end up looking a bit stylized as a result. Where the hell do his eyes go? Oh no. I think around there usually. My lines are very scratchy, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. They can be scratchy. Gotta be a little bit on the hasty side. Otherwise, that eye is way smaller than the other one. Never mind. Head. He has a gap there and it kind of curls around a bit and then it goes up round. He's got a very fat head right now, but I can fix it. I just need to get the general shape in there. In fact, what I've done is I've made the forehead way too big, so probably the best thing for me to do is actually make that a bit bigger. I'm just going to connect the head and then I'll fix the forehead. It's fine. I don't have time to do massive fixes. I just got to do what I can do. Just pop the ear in there. The other ear sort of... what I haven't done is really got the angle right here, but you know what? I'm just going to roll with it because I've not got time to go back and fix it. Jaw. I hate his jaw. I struggle with his jaw so much on this suit because it's so weird and it's hard not to just get it to jut out weirdly. God, this is really telling me why I need construction lines. Because I use my construction lines to get all the shapes and proportions right because I can edit all that and stuff, and just to go straight into it like this is like, what am I doing? The jaw is weird that it has this weird bit that goes up, but even if I can just get the head done, I'll be happy at least. Teeth. Have some teeth. Classic British smile right here. You need to go to the dentist. Oh god, what is happening? I'm kind of giving up. Oh, how much time have I got? 6 minutes. Okay. We got this. We can do this. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but that's fine. Let's just give this a little bit of contrast by giving some black. Doesn't matter if it's a bit squibbly. Okay, and then, I need to do his withering, don't I? He has gap there, and he has gaps that go up his eye like that. He has some withering up here on his head. There we go. The bow tie. The bow tie is the knot bit is at the bottom of his jaw and his jaw's overlapping it, but the actual tie goes up and over the jaw. I have to just get a bit of creative liberty because I've not got time to make it absolutely perfect. Shoulder does that, and then it goes around. It goes round. That was a bit too far round, but it goes around, and then let's just worry about getting sort of the other side in, because what I can do is sort of just have this idea of the torso rather than it being the actual torso. It's got to be very rough now. Oh, buttons. Yeah, he has these buttons. You know what? I don't like them sticking out that much. I'm just going to make them a bit flatter. 10 minutes for 10 minutes. This is really bad. I feel like I'm playing Gartic Phone right now and I gotta sketch really quickly. It's probably as much as I'm gonna be able to do. Get a bit of the weathering in there. Let's really just accentuate the fact that this is a messy sketch. Just have some fun with it now. I've got 3 minutes to have some fun. Maybe add some cross-hatching in places. Shade and the darker bits going. Accent the fact that this is deliberately a messy sketch because that's what it is. It wasn't deliberate at first, but that's how it turned out. Oh, he's got some withering down here. Hang on. Pop in those patches. That bit voided in a bit. Okay, hang on. That went really messy. That wasn't meant to be that messy. Oh god, I've made it worse. Oh god, get the bigger brush. Just get a bigger brush. Just get a bigger brush and fit it in. Just get a bigger brush and fit it in, please. No. That's not good. That doesn't look good. We're just gonna keep it like that. It didn't look good. Didn't look good. None of this looks good. But you know what? Whatever. I'm doing my best. I'm under pressure. I can't do things when I'm under pressure. Why does he look bold? I don't know why he looks bold. Probably because he is bold. Why am I sinning? I'm nervous. Oh god, 40 seconds. Okay. Is there anything else I've got time to add in? I mean, he definitely needs some fixing around the head. Like, it's just not good around the head. Oh, I don't know if I've got time to thoroughly fix it, but that's just definitely isn't the power pose I was going for this. I think the problem I did is this would have to curve up a bit more like that. Probably. Yeah, I've just got the perspective one in my panic. I've got the perspective one. That's all I've done. It could be fixed on the 10-hour one. There's a Spring Bonnie-ish guy. I don't know. He's here, and we're done. Okay, well, there's 10 minutes. I tried. I did what I could. Yeah, so I've definitely got the angle very wrong, but I just kind of had to run with it because I was panicky and I was under pressure. So it's ended up a very different pose. I'm just getting the directly some minutes more of a reference and directly copying the pose. But yeah, there's 10 minutes, and well, 10 hours next. Let's try it. Alright, 10 hours. This is now not live commentary. I'm now recording this after the fact because I was not going to sit there and talk for 10 hours. But yeah, I had so much time here that I really didn't need to rush it. Even though I still felt a bit under pressure having that timer, I knew that 10 hours is more than enough time because I tend to spend like 6 hours, 8 hours on big pieces. But yeah, as usual, starting with construction lines. I actually went away from what I normally do. So normally I would start with the nose and move out from there. You saw me do that on the other 2 times. But I decided to go for the bow tie because it's a bit more of a distinctive shape. I did really want to make sure it was right though, so I did overlay it on the reference image a little bit just to sort of adapt my lines. I didn't do any tracing. Don't, you know, you can go in the comments and accuse me, but you can see right here I didn't trace. There's no tracing. I just basically deformed my lines to make sure they were the right places because it was looking really wrong. I needed it to look right. I wanted to make sure it looked right, and this was the best way to do that. I was still drawing it freehand, by hand, no tracing. What did I always do with Spring Bonnie, which is funny, and I also do it with Spring Trap, or any of the springs, you know. I always make the ears way too big. They always seem like they should be way bigger than they are, and I always have to go and make them way smaller. I followed the reference quite closely for the construction lines. I knew I was probably going to be editing the pose a bit, but for now I just wanted to get the shapes and stuff correct. And there were bits I had to adapt because they weren't visible on the reference, like the hands were a little bit cut off, so I just basically adapted it to how the hands would be. It took me about, how long is this? Half an hour to do the construction lines all together. So before I went into the refined sketch, this is where I then took my construction lines and I edited it into a more of a pose that I wanted. He felt like he was a little bit hunched, which makes sense because he just got shot by a taser. It probably did kind of hurt, even though he powered through it. It probably did kind of hurt. So I did edit it a bit. I didn't sort of go too realistic with it. I sort of used the suit as the body. So like I arched his back and I puffed the chest out a bit. The suit doesn't have a chest that can puff out like our chests expand. And it doesn't have a back that's going to curve. It's quite solid. But that really exaggerates the pose I wanted to go for. This sort of arched back, chest out. It's this proud pose. So finally into doing the refined sketch, I toyed around with the eyes a little bit. So at first I was going to have him looking down at the camera, but then I thought, it doesn't really work. So then I tried doing sort of realistic human eyes in there. But again, I didn't really think it worked. I just went back with the animatronic eyes, sort of had them looking up how the reference was. And then from there, it was just closely following my reference, closely following my construction lines, and making the sketch. The background, well, I had absolutely no idea what scene I wanted at this point, but I had been playing a lot of Ratchet and Clank lately. I'd been playing both Crack in Time and Rift Apart. Story to those games is Crack in Time is to do with time, basically. It's time anomalies, time travel and stuff. And Rift Apart is dimensions. I just kind of started sketching the background and it kind of just ended up going for this dimensionality feel. I don't know why it ended up like that. I think it's just because I've been playing those things and that's just what came out. But yeah, I ended up going for this look where it's like a spacey dimensional background with a dimensional storm at the top, and he stood in a sort of old Fazbear Entertainment, old Freddy Fazbear's place, and it's sort of being ripped apart and there's rubble flying up towards the storm and it's, you know, chaos. And he's just stood there like, yeah, whatever. He's like, you know, holding strong. He's not caring. I mean, probably caring, but he's looking at it like, this isn't a problem. I can deal with this. I can go through this. I can get through this. I'm strong enough. You know, this arrogance coming through. So at the 8.5 hour mark, it was on to line art. Pretty much the same sort of thing where I just use a thin line art and then go through with a thicker brush and make sure I got my line weight variation in. Very important line weight variation. I always say that every video, but just, it's really important. Trust me, it will make your line up pop. Do it. But yeah, pretty much my normal process here. So yeah. Now, initially, I was going to have the mouth just black, just like darkness in there. But then I thought, it doesn't really work. You can definitely, like, there would definitely be some light going in there. Then I realised I've got to draw William in there. And if you know me, you know that I cannot draw humans to save my life. So I got a reference of Matthew Lillard's William. And then I ended up getting this reference of a sort of drawn version of a human head looking up slightly, because that's what it would be. And I just sort of did what I could. I'm not good with humans at all, like really. I just sort of had to do what I could and hope that in the shading I'd be able to really cover it up with some dark shadows, so yeah. Around 2 hours later and the line art was done and we were on to colouring now. This is just getting the base flat colours in so that I can go over them easily with clipping masks and stuff. Didn't take long to do this, it was the texture and stuff that took longer. At first I sort of made the sort of galaxy background. This sort of gave me a bit of a sense of how the sort of coloured lighting would look. I also roughed in where the storm was going to just get an idea of that as well. Sort of just get the composition going a little bit so that I can then focus on how the lighting will affect the texture that I'll be doing. I also added an overlay layer of just purpley pink to get that colour in. Like I said, this is just helping me get the general idea of my lighting in there, and it's basically just a good way to help me know how that lighting will affect my texturing, how that each shadow is going to be, because this isn't the actual shading that I'm doing on the characters, it's just helping me. It's just helping me know that, hey, the monster's going to have like a shadow below it because that's where the light's coming from and stuff. Texturing, I use my good old trusty watercolour brush. God, I absolutely love this brush. It is literally like the best brush for me. It's just so good for getting in both colour, texture and blending all in one. It's so good with your pressure sensitivity, like it's amazing. Like you push hard and you put down a nice bit of colour, but then if you push lightly you can blend that out, and you don't have to be switching your brush to do this, you can just do it all in one and you can give it some really nice painterly textures, and I absolutely love it. With around 4 hours left to go, it's time to do the shading. I always have a method to my shading. So if needed, and I don't always do this, but it's if needed, I will do a multiply or shade layer that covers the whole character or area. This will be on a dark colour. It's either dark blue, dark purple, dark green, dark red, is whatever the colour of the lighting is, and in this case that is purple. And I just fill the character or area with it, and then I use my softer eraser to erase where light will be hitting it, and it just starts to get the general shadow idea. And then to exaggerate the shadows even more, I'll do another layer layer, still on the dark color, which is an overlay layer, and I start to add just very rough shading. It's this shading where I don't even worry about how it looks at the moment. I just add it in, add the shadows, scribble it in, and I use my blur brush to blur it out. These are the softer shadows, just the general areas of darkness and stuff. After those two shadow layers, I do another overlay layer, which is then a lighter colour. Just like the shading layer, it is like a colour that is the same shade of the general colour of the lighting, but just a little bit lighter. So this is purple, a light purple. And I do the same as I did for the shadows, just over quick highlights, blend them out, and it just gives the general shadow idea, the general lighting idea. And then once I'd got that rough shading in for spring, I went into more of a general lighting for the overall piece. So I started adding some sort of smoky, foggy effects. I added some over-the-top light shine effects, because not only does that help with the lighting, it also goes over the line art, so that the line art also gets a little bit of that tint as well. Just helps it look a bit more realistic and like it's all harmonious and in one place and not like he's just photoshopped in there. I'm probably making no sense. I feel like I'm a little bit delirious because I'm getting ill. But yeah, basically it was multiplier layer, overlay layer, and then a general layer over the top of shade and shine and stuff to get a general idea of making it harmonious and putting it all together. With 3.5 hours left, it was time to do the refined shading. So basically I did the same as I did before with the overlay layers and a slightly darker colour. But this is where I then use my line art brush and make harsher, more refined shadows. These ones have hard edges, or maybe I'll give them an ever so slight blur, but they're mostly just hard edges. And they just really exaggerate the lighting. They really show where the dark areas are, the really dark shadows. And it just gives even more definition in areas. And I do exactly the same thing for the highlights. It's an overlay layer with the lighter colour, with my line art brush, more harsh highlights, hard edges, stuff like that. It just makes everything a bit crisper as well. It just gives it this nicer look, if you ask me. It's been my shading style for a while and I really like doing it. So yeah, I actually went and added a second darker layer just to really exaggerate some other areas. Some areas weren't quite dark enough for my liking. So just areas like around the bow tie and stuff where it's really dark, I just did a second overlay layer just to really exaggerate that. And I did the same for the highlights again. At this point the piece was kind of getting to finished. It was more I was just doing some editing now with about 3 hours left, so I still have plenty of time and it was almost done, so I didn't really know what to do myself. But I went through and I did some editing. One of the big points I did was these grid patterns I did on the walls, because you know some walls have like a metal structure inside to reinforce it. That's basically what those were, and as well as rods sticking up. But they were too thin, you couldn't really see them, they weren't realistic, so I just went back and I thickened them up a bit and did a little bit of shading on them as well. And then realised I hadn't done any refined shading on any of the background props or anything, so I went and did that. Same idea as spring, just using the overlay layers on my line art brush and the colours. Just refining areas, giving harsh shadows, harsher highlights, really making something to pop, really making it feel like that one thing's in the foreground, one thing's in the background, stuff like that. And then I basically just messed around with the lighting for a bit, just refining stuff. One of the last things I had to do was export everything as their own separate layers and images and put them back in so that I can start doing the focal distance and blurring and stuff. So basically something right in the foreground is going to be really blurred and something right in the background is going to be really blurred, and that's because the focus is on Sprint in the middle, and this just gives the whole piece a bit more of a 3D effect to it. So I went through and did this gradually using my selection tool to gradually blur areas, and I really think that actually turned out really well. It really did give this sense of a sort of 3D environment, and it really did put the focus on Sprint, which is exactly what I wanted, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. So here we are at the 2 hours 17 minutes mark, and I am wondering what the hell am I gonna do? Like, to me this was pretty much done now. Like, I still had over 2 hours left and I had nothing else to do on it. I had this fear that if I kept going I was going to overwork it, I was going to add too much, it was going to just be busy and it was chaotic. And yeah, it was supposed to be chaotic, but like there's chaotic and then there's too chaotic and busy and then you just can't read it. Guys, there's literally like 2 hours 15 minutes left and I don't know what the hell else I can do on this. Like, what is there to do? I think it's done. I know it's a 10-hour challenge, but I think it's done. Yeah, there's the technically 10 hours one. Close enough. And there we have it. That is the 10 seconds, 10 minutes and 10 hours challenge. Let me know, guys, which is your favourite? I wonder what everyone's going to choose. Personally, and I had to think really, really hard about this, right? Like, this was such a sort of brain melter. I was sat here for hours trying to decide what my favourite was, and I decided on this one. Yeah. I just think it's neat. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed, do leave a like and maybe subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Comment down below if there's any other art challenges you'd like to see me try. And if I don't upload before Christmas or on Christmas at all, Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. I hope you all have an amazing time. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.